South China Sea tensions have seen China clash with Asian countries and the US, but the UK has also threatened to intervene as Beijing's aggression intensifies. The warning was issued by the then Defense Secretary Gavin Williamson amid increasing concerns that the South China Sea region could be plunged into accidental conflict. In February 2019, Mr. Williamson indicated in a speech that the UK may have to intervene in the future to confront China as it continues to flout international law and is resurgent in rebuilding its armed forces. He also said that the first operational mission of the HMS Queen Elizabeth would include the Pacific region. While the region is primarily contested by the US and China, the UK also has a keen interest in the region. One reason is that a notable 12% of British trade passes through the South China Sea each year. Maritime shipping is 9% of global trade according to the same figures, and given the region's growing importance, an increase is likely. This could present a big opportunity for the UK to get ahead of its European rivals should departure from the EU be completed, but with opportunity also comes risk in the form of a diplomatically aggressive China. In December, James Rogers of the Henry Jackson Society told the UK must stand up to China in the region. He said, "The UK should take a greater interest in the region for economic and strategic reasons. This means we must step up our naval presence." Some of the UK's closest allies and partners, the US, Australia and Japan, have pervasive interest in the region. If we want American support in Europe, we need to assist the US in the Indo-Pacific, particularly in challenging China's illegal claims in the South China Sea. We should not conduct our foreign policy based on what China wants. As we are one of the world's largest markets and importers, China is in part dependent on us for selling its goods. The relationship is not asymmetric. China needs British know-how and investment to develop. We must never lose sight of that fact, or allow Beijing to shape discourse to encourage us into thinking about it. The UK has mounted challenges to Chinese forces in the past, sending vessels near its military bases within its waters claimed deemed illegal by international bodies. Hostility between China and the UK spiked in September last year, when Britain announced it would send its warship HMS Queen Elizabeth to the region, sparking fury in Beijing. The UK has periodically sent ships to the South China Sea to help other powers defy China's controversial 9-line claim. In September 2018, a similar waters patrol was undertaken aboard the UK's HMS Albion. However, as Reuters reported at the time, the encounter didn't result in any hostility. Beijing did send a chilling warning in response to the action, though, telling those in London that China will continue to take all necessary measures to defend its sovereignty and security. China has claimed to have extracted 861,400 cubic meters of natural gas from hydrates in the South China Sea following a month-long trial. As per South China Morning Post, SCMP, the total figure and the 287,000 extracted on one single day would both constitute world records. The gas was extracted from a northerly section of the waterway at a depth of about 1,225 meters from February 17th to March 18th. Beijing's Ministry of Natural Resources described the trial as a solid technical foundation for commercial exploitation. They added China was the first country in the world to extract gas using a horizontal well technique. Gas hydrates are also known as flammable ice. When extracted, it is believed 1 cubic meter of gas hydrates releases 164 cubic meters of natural gas. That ratio would put China's figure at 141,269,600 cubic meters. The test comes as global oil and gas price plunge. China, the world's largest exporter of both, has sought alternative sources for air economic security. Addressing SCMP, Yang Fuqiang, a senior energy advisor at the National Resources Defense Council, said, "The demand for natural gas is large and the prospect is promising, but it's hard to say when China will have commercial development of flammable ice." Beijing has set a target for 10% of the annual energy consumption to be from natural gas by the end of 2020. In 2019, the figure was at 8.3%. Speaking to SCMP, Fan Zhao, the chief engineer with the Sichuan Geology and Mineral Bureau, warned, "It is an important resource, but exploiting it in a sustainable, economically viable way is still some way off." This comes as the U.S. has developed a 10-year plan to tackle Chinese ambition in the region. Marine Corps Combat Development Command planned to axe 12,000 personnel and give up heavy artillery in order to focus on lighter mobility options. It is hoped the move would make it easier for the Navy to navigate around the island chains. Drones and mobile anti-ship guns are understood to be part of the plans. They are believed to have designed specifically to combat China's People's Liberation Army. Li Ji, a Beijing-based naval expert, explained, "Such a plan will help the Marines to meet the new requirements of modern battles involving multi-domain in the air, ground, maritime, space and cyberspace in both competition and armed conflict, which will definitely cause great threats to Chinese Navy and Air Force." Commandant General David Berger told the Wall Street Journal, "China, in terms of military capability, is the pacing threat. If we did nothing, we would be passed." Zhou Chenming, another Beijing-based expert, said, "As the special force of a superpower, the U.S. Marines has adjusted its operational system since the Gulf War in the early 1990s, with heavy armored vehicles such as the M1A1 main battle tanks being deployed to Middle East battlefields. Now they really need to trim the sizes of both weapon and combat units if they are going to fight as literal forces in their multi-domain operations." The United States has in the past sent patrols into the disputed waterway, to the anger of China.